Okay, so next up is self-care and domestic life. So self-care demands are extensive at this age. We're expected to have effective processing skills, so knowing how to do tasks and how to use tools. And this part of occupation is just expected to be 100% independent, right? Even though the self-care demands like taking daily pills, potentially having more self-care than you used to due to factors related to aging, etc. So self-care demands increase. Process skills mastery, IADLs, we're competent in this. And we've done home establishment and management starting in early adulthood, but continuing in this age and really getting very much solidified. And then, we have the potential of houselessness or homelessness. And so for a middle adult, if they lose their job, if they lose their support system, if they succumb to an enormous amount of stress in today's day and age, and especially in the Bay Area, where we're all located, it is entirely possible to become houseless, and occupational deprivation can occur secondary to houselessness. Occupational deprivation is the inability to engage in valued occupations as a result of external circumstances. So if it persists, it diminishes performance of occupations across the range of occupations, and is a pretty big problem. When the pandemic started, I started a occupational deprivation project where I invited OTs and OT students to contribute to a slide deck about how was occupational deprivation impacting them. And it was really interesting and to me very poignant, and a kind of good historical record of what was going on. So next up is relationships. We have in middle adulthood a number of different types of relationships. We have family systems, so multi-generational caregivers, siblings, parents, children, all of it, right? All of it happening all at once. Relationships may end in divorce, and this is common in midlife. More than 90% of people marry by midlife in Western cultures, and 25%, or a quarter, of first marriages end in divorce, and 50%, or half, of subsequent marriages do. It is painful and disruptive. It can cause feelings of failure or rejection. There's financial insecurity and changes associated with it, social network changes, social roles, self-concept. So divorce can be a huge event and a very stressful event for a variety of reasons. So check out the presenter notes for more on that. And next up is kinship. So this is a close connection recognized by a number of individuals, and it is marked by either biological, legal, or social ties. So it is closeness with a number of people who may or may not be one's blood family. But because you're in middle adulthood, you've been on the earth for a while, you have these relationships that you've built up. And it could be just with one person, a few people, or with a group of people. And then finally, there's friendship. And for many people, friendships remain as important as family relationships into middle and late adulthood. Friendships are protective influences against stress. They're important for midlife individuals who don't or may not have low or no family support. And chosen families are also important. So next up, intimacy and sexuality. Intimate relationships, those that where the individuals express love through more than simply sexual contact, actually can thrive or decline in middle adulthood. People might feel more vulnerable or less desirable because of aging, but the opposite is true, that aging with a partner who's aging with you can actually produce more intimacy. At this phase, it's important to also note that people do a lot of stuff to regain attractiveness. Infidelity, plastic surgery, spending a lot of money on clothes or other stuff. And this is, again, evidence of a quote unquote midlife crisis. So you got your hot little red sports car and you feel like you're more attractive and more desirable. I don't know if it works. Also, we want to talk about sexual interest and sexual activity. So the interest is the psychological cascade of events, and the activity is the physical. And researchers have found that activity didn't increase substantially from puberty onwards. And for some people in middle age, it actually declines. But sexual activity was positively associated with self-reported health and sexual satisfaction, and that was correlated with measures of quality of life. So remaining sexually active, or at least sexually interested, is correlated with quality of life. Some middle adulthood conditions contribute to the decline of sexual activity: cardiovascular disease, arthritis, cancer, depression, and certainly for women, menopause with a loss of lubrication and a change in hormones. For men, there may be impotence. So a variety of other things that actually affect the functioning of one's sex organs. So sex and intimacy remain multidimensional, remain complex, and may decline, may stay the same, may increase, but definitely experience a change in flavor as one ages. We also want to consider midlife parenting. So people are parenting at ever older ages, and they're experiencing prolonged parenting along with prolonged caregiving. And then there's also grandparenting. So there's a lot of role for caregiver slash parent or grandparent in middle adulthood. I will let you have a look at the presenter notes for some details on that. And it's an interesting area, and it also really reflects changing roles and an avenue for many different occupations. Work is our next area of focus. And work is still a major life area, a major area of occupation. There's work role attachment. So it's associating your roles in life with what you do for work. There's career advancement, where you're still, you're coming to your peak in middle adulthood in terms of one's career, and potentially a changing relationship to work as one ages. There may be stress factors that cause a change in one's relationship to work, and occupational imbalance. You're now the CEO, or you're the president of the company, or you're this or that, and so you're finding that all of your time is going to work, and you really don't want that to be the case. So really looking at that happens for middle adults. And then at the end of the phase, there definitely is a planning for retirement. Whether or not that happens by age 65, there's definitely the looking ahead. And along with that, I would say, again, from my personal experience, there's the planning for retirement in terms of financial resources and, not only like when am I going to quit working, but how am I going to potentially live out another 20 years, right, on the resources that I've accumulated while I was working. So it's a time of both great earning potential and planning for not earning. So you'll remember when we started this lecture, we talked about Super's theory of career development. And I'm not going to go into this in detail. However, I do want to just draw your attention to the different roles, life roles that one might have. There's the ages across the top of that rainbow. And then we see establishment and maintenance as the two roles that middle adults are particularly entrenched in. And again, not all of these roles happen for everybody, and they are somewhat flexible. Let's now talk about community, social, and civic life. So middle adults have great community connections, right? They've been involved in community. They've been contributing to society for a number of years. There's a peak in volunteering in young and early middle adulthood, and it's often related to the performance of family responsibilities. So there's also, there's a lot of examples like religious organizations, unions, political parties, sports, all sorts of things that are happening that pull an individual into community. And we know that being a part of a community is super important for health and well-being. Also, we cannot discount the power of virtual communities, whether it's for like interests or gaming or political involvement or spiritual involvement. So a variety of different kinds of virtual or online involvement. I think that I'm going to let you read about some of this. Politics and civic engagement grows in middle adulthood, and so just consider that middle adults are really involved, or could be really involved in civic engagement, and I don't know what else to say about it. And finally, recreation and leisure. So leisure, again, is something that's done purely for enjoyment and emphasizes agency. So it enhances one's health and well-being. It's really important for work-life balance. And, OT helps people get back to leisure activities or regain leisure activities or balance leisure activities, and changes in health and ability may limit participation in some of the more high activity and action-oriented activities that people did as young adults. So leisure experiences some changes as we age. In terms of spirituality and religion, we see a slight rise in participation. It is a very important aspect of life for some middle-aged adults. It again provides a connection to community, which is important for middle-aged adults. And it provides a coping strategy, right? A stress coping strategy. So we want to attend and attune to that as well when working with our middle adult clients. All right, we've almost reached the end. Congratulations. So in summary, middle-aged adults experience age-related changes, and these changes, physical, cognitive, etc., impact occupational participation. Life demands and stressors can take a toll on middle-aged adults, and we need to try to put in place protective mechanisms to counteract or slow or manage that. And all areas of occupation are important to the middle adult, and mastery has occurred in many, many areas. Relationships of all types and community connection are key for middle adults to maintain both physical, psychological, emotional health and well-being. All right, so what can you do? You can jot down your questions and bring them to class so that we can continue our discussion of middle adulthood. And please bring questions large and small, any areas that you're particularly interested in, and we will dig in as you would like when I see you in class. Thanks so much for your attention. Here are the references and some interesting additional ones. And that's it. You've done it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you real soon in class. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.